Apartheid is a system or policy of segregation or discrimination based on some factor. Does apartheid exist in Malaysian mainstream schools? What led me to ask this question? I was quite struck by the stark difference in the number of teachers who are of Malay ethnicity compared to the number of teachers of other races in Malaysian schools. I wanted to know what is the actual numbers with regard to this pattern, and I wrote to the Ministry of Education to find out. In a short while, I will share with you what transpired, but I basically, to cut a long story short, I was denied access to that information. Why is that information so private and confidential? Why is it being kept under lock and key? I did a research on my own, a limited research, but just looking at the number of teachers by their ethnicity in national schools, both primary and secondary, but limited to the schools that I had direct access to. And guess what? I found out that 100% of all the schools that I had access to had headmasters or principals who are Malay Muslims, and 96% of teachers are Malay Muslims. Is this even constitutional? The Malaysian mainstream schools are schools attended by students of all races. Why is the number so skewed? I then went on to find out by talking to some young people who are not Malays who had applied to become government school teachers. And guess what? All of them were rejected, no reason given, even though they had degree from local universities, pretty good degrees in STEM fields and education degrees. Why is this happening? And this is a cause for concern, especially since there is a movement now by a group of teachers called Ikatan Guru Islam Malaysia, I believe, who want national Chinese and Tamil schools to be shut down. They have actually filed a suit in the court, in Malaysian courts, and they have been allowed to do so. Tamil and Chinese schools are the only schools at primary level that have teachers of Indian and Chinese ethnicity working in them. There are teachers of Indian and Chinese ethnicity in national primary and secondary schools, but the numbers are so small. Look at my communication with the Ministry of Education next. Here is the proof of the query I sent to the Ministry of Education requesting information on the breakdown of teachers and school leaders by ethnicity. And this is the reply I received asking me to revert to the Ministry of Education website, to a link called Pantas Statistic, or the quick statistic facts. I had accessed the document. The information that I wanted is not there, and this was the last email sent to me. I did revert back with another email to them stating that This is the information I need, and I did not find it in that document, and my query was ignored. So my question is, why is this such sensitive information? This is such sensitive information because it's unconstitutional to practice apartheid to this extent in schools, specifically with regard to selection of teachers and promotion of teachers to leadership position in schools. I don't know what is the basis for keeping such a skewed number in terms of teachers and school leaders, focusing only on one race when these schools are the only free schools funded by the government for children of all races in Malaysia. I think the teachers and the school leaders should represent the racial or ethnic composition of the Malaysian population, because it is very, very well known that children identify and relate to teachers who they believe are similar to them, and having only one race group as teachers and leaders of schools is to the detriment of children who belong to different ethnic groups. I hope we, as a group of people who are interested in the well-being of this country, the future of this country as our home, can come together to demand this wrong to be made right. Thank you for listening to me. I will see you again next week in another video addressing problems about Malaysian schools, proposing solutions to these problems, and also speak about ideals and dreams for Malaysian children of all races and religions, so that our country can stand tall and proud amongst other nations in the world.